I built 5 classic games with Lego bricks and they are all playable. This is my Lego Mario Kart game and I added some contraptions to give Mario extra challenges. This is the Street Fighter game. The minifigure characters can pull off all kinds of moves in this arcade machine. And this is the Sonic the Hedgehog game, which I have full control over his action. I also transformed the standard set into a fully playable rating game and created the most frustrating game ever made. But let's kick things off with Mario Kart. In the game, Mario drives on a loop track packed with items and obstacles. It's so much fun that a voice in my head just kept urging me to recreate it in Lego. There was one big problem though. This huge set won't fit on the rail I was using and none of the Marios I had were the right size. Plus the wheels just won't stay on the track. So I realized I had to build my own car from scratch. I built it on top of a blue roller coaster base, then added red and white bricks. Then I put on some jet engines and even stole the M tile from the official set. With this tiny card, I still need a minifigure. Luckily, I had a third-party Mario minifigure. I still wondered why Lego has never made a minifigure-sized Mario, but either way, it fits in perfectly. So, I built the track base at this size. Just like the game, it's a loop with plenty of ups and downs. My plan was to build a 90-degree turn right here leading into a big slope. To climb the mountain, you turn this knob, which drives a chain belt and lifts the cart right up. Once Mario reaches the top, he will make a quick U-turn and head back down to the ground. But watch out, that bridge is broken. Since this is a pretty dangerous loop, I decided to assign Bowser here. I put him on the rotating base so Mario has to sneak past the surveillance. Now it's time to gear up the track. For the first contraption, I wanted to combine it with a question block. When Mario hits that block, the track moves synchronously. Straight ahead is that right-angled turn. I built a slope on top of Toad, so gravity drives Mario all the way to the end. But to stop him from completely falling off the track, I added this axle to block his way temporarily. And with that, I finished the second contraption. Next up we have Bully Bill over here, and I've got a job for him. You can see this yellow axle connecting all the way to a knob. I fixed Bully Bill right onto the back of that, so when Mario reaches the spot, it can hit him really hard. When Mario reaches the top of the hill, I added some more obstacles for him using these spiky stone blocks. To resemble how they wander in the games, I built a balance and attached them to both sides. They'll be waiting for Mario up there. The downhill section of the track is also packed with danger because I've prepared a piranha plant to block the way. I added a contraption to the plant so when the bottom of the gear rack is pushed up, it drives the gear and opens those 2 petals. It has a great look and it blends into the scene perfectly. The track is now tightly blocked by those giant petals with sharp teeth, and Mario can't get through unless I press the lever underneath. Finally, it's time to deal with that broken bridge. My solution was to build a mini Bowser's castle. These parts create a good looking lava layout, and behind the castle we have volcanoes that may erupt anytime. That erupting lava can hit the track from below. Looking back, we've added 7 challenges including bullet bill, bumps, and Panara plants to the loop. After adding a few decorations and NPCs to the setup, I'm getting really close to the gameplay moment. Now let's mark down the starting point and bring this track to the test. Mario has been waiting long enough, now he's ready to set off. Mario drives straight toward the question block. To get past it, the figure beneath punches the block, making it bounce up and down. This in turn moves the track, letting the cart pass right through. Next, with the help of the turning base, Mario drives to the right after squeezing his cart past the blocking axle. He then reaches the bottom of the hill. Now turning the red knob won't help yet because the cart hasn't climbed onto the belt. Before Bowser even finds Mario, Bully Bill locks on and fires. Mario takes on a huge amount of damage. But that hit unexpectedly knocks the cart right onto the belt. Driving up the hill, Mario has to push away the rock blocks because he needs to hide from Bowser. Those blocks are heavy, but he has to do it twice because they are connected. Now Mario has no choice but to wait until the lever clears the road. The moment it opens, Mario instantly zooms past, knowing exactly how bad it feels to get bitten by that thing. Driving down the hill, Mario gets stuck at the broken bridge. Right then, the volcano erupts and the lava shoots up against the bridge, giving the cart a huge push. Now, you won't get lucky every time because that lava might just knock off the cart. But if you're doing it right, this will take you back to the start. Next up, let's build Sonic the Hedgehog game. In this one, Sonic runs incredibly fast, collecting rings and defeating enemies with his speed. First, I needed to modify this minifigure to create a zooming effect. I searched for references, I found this. Let's give him a pair of new legs. This transparent wheel was the closest Lego part I could find, and excuse my terrible drawing skills, but I just draw the spinning effect right onto the wheel. The figure looked kind of lame from this angle, but once it started to spin, it looked much better. Next, I assembled the playground, which is made of a huge number of Lego tiles. Since I plan to motorize it, I needed to build the whole thing modularly. This meant slicing the terrain into small compartments and attaching them to the background tiles. In this way, I've created the game scene like a canvas but with some 3D effects. To finish up the playground, I added the enemies. They will be right in Sonic's way until he takes them down. The best part of this setup is that the modules are connected with tracks, so I can round them up and turn the whole thing into an endless loop. Since the setup is so heavy, it needed a sturdy mechanism to drive it. So I built a scaffold to support everything using worm gears and reinforced shafts. After almost breaking my fingers, I finally managed to hand the background bricks onto the scaffold. Now, I need to figure out a way to motorize Sonic. My solution was to use this long shaft with gear transmission, attach Sonic onto the shaft, and attach the shaft right onto the side of the game canvas. Control the shaft to power up the motor, and let's go. First, let's aim at the crab meat, jump over it, and collect the ring. Next, we'll do a spin dash, jump, and take down the motorbug to collect more rings. But I forgot to use the spring here, so I missed taking down Dr. Eggman. Don't worry, the infinite canvas gives me the opportunity to try again. Let me jump up to the second floor and use the spring. This way, Sonic defeats Dr. Eggman. Since I've collected items, I can use a boost speed. This is what the game looks like when I dial up the motor's voltage. The Street Fighter series was one of the most popular games in the 90s. Even though I wasn't never good at that, I'm sure I can create a Lego version of this fight, especially since I have these fantastic minifigures. These are custom-made figures based on real Lego, and the printing is very clean. To control the figure's movement, I designed this structure. When you turn the handle, the figure follows. I can put the figure right here and press down to make it jump. This gave me control over all the basic movements. But my hand had to move too much, which lowered the maneuverability. So I made this upgrade. I added a gear train. This saved a lot of angle rotation for my hand. The figure moves the same distance with just a slight hand movement. Then we enter the charming moment of assembling the arcade machine itself. We're bringing in the floor, the frame, the front panel, and the side panels. I even prepared a health meter for the rivals. To accurately recreate that iconic game background, I even used this banana as the moon. With all the necessary pieces in position, I can finally bring Ken and Liu to the fight. Okay, that was to feel out the opponent at first. So Ken landed the first damage. Let's see if Liu can give it back. Liu fought back. When they both took damage, timing became very important. I might not be a great player, but I have to say this machine brings me so much fun, especially when you are fighting against your own other hand. To add more play features, I also built some other backgrounds that you can switch out from the back of the machine, just like changing a cassette tape in an old player. I also made some stickers and attached them to the machine, making it look exactly like a real one, but just in mini size. Bringing this machine with me means I can play all day, practicing Hadouken, Shoryuken, and Tatsumaki Seven-Kyaku in real movements. LEGO released a nicely designed arcade machine. However, even though it has a printed tile as screen, you can't actually control the spaceship on it. So I took advantage of the set and modified it to my demands. I added gear racks and steering wheel to control the tiny spaceship. Then I built a belt with tiny tiles to mimic the background, complete with enemies and their attacks. Once I started scrolling the belt, it looked just like in the game. I tucked the whole belt back into the arcade machine and assembled the control panel onto the front. With this modification, the machine is ready to play the moment you insert a coin. The scrolling starts at a lower speed where I can easily control the steering wheel, but when the speed starts to pick up, it becomes quite difficult to dodge those incoming tiles. Finally, we are at my latest project, getting over it with Bennett 40. That game is probably the most frustrating thing ever, since you have to start all over again constantly. Basically, it's a guy in a cauldron trying to climb a mountain with a hammer. The most difficult part was finding a cauldron. There are buckets and there are barrels, but no actual cauldron. So I knew I had to make my own again. I searched through all my stocks and finally came up with this tire. I put it inside out, and the texture actually looked surprisingly like a cauldron. My real challenge though was making this guy actually climb the mountain. Minifigures can't move on their own, so I have to figure out some way to pull him up. I tried attaching the bar to the cliff so I could lift the minifigure, but the hammer just kept slipping down from the bar's tip. Unlike the axles, Lego bars don't have stops on the tips. Or do they? This is a stack of new Lego rails. They aren't falling off because there are two bars holding them together. The bars are designed to be disposable, but if I pull them out and keep them, I will collect the ideal bars with stop. I tested those new bars right away, and sure enough, when the guy hooked his hammer onto the bar, it stayed on there firmly, even when the bar was tilted. So I copied that mechanism all the way across the cliff face. I attached multiple rotating bars to create a route that let the guy climb all the way to the top. To accurately recreate the game scene, I meticulously picked out some garbage and scattered it across the cliff. Now, let's rock! Can we make it on the first try? After all, I designed it. Nope, obviously I can't. But that's fine, I tried again. This time I'll be very careful not to let the bars hit the cauldron guy. Okay, that's harder than I think. Okay, here's my last chance. I'm starting to get the feel for how to play this game now. I'll make the upper bar pick up the lower one, that way I can transfer the cauldron guy seamlessly. But I need to be extra careful when I let go of the lower bar because it will definitely hit him. The hardest part is definitely when the two bars mingle together and the lower one ends up blocking him. Okay, here we go. Just one more bar until the top. Okay, thank you for watching this video. Please tell me which game is your favorite and see you next time.